And we are live. Welcome, everybody. My name is Alesh, and today I'm here with Khurram Shahzad. And this is one of our weekly talk when we are trying to kind of deconstruct and put back together some good practices around people leadership. Hi, Khurram. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. I'm
Nice.
actually thrilled to be with Alice. It's actually Alish, and together we will explore the fascinating intersection of engineering and leadership.
Totally. And we want you to actually join the journey with us. So I am joining from Luxembourg. Khurram, where are you right now?
Lahore, Pakistan.
Awesome. So I would like all of you, if you're with us, let us know in the chat where are you joining us from? Where are you right now? We wanna know what's the composition of the audience, who do we have with us, and of course later on we're gonna pick your questions and we will answer them. Kuram will use his expertise as engineer and a people leader. So let's see who we got on the stream. Let us know. Just type in the chat where you're joining from. We are really curious to know. And in the meantime, Kuram, I'm gonna go right into the why I really wanted to have you on this show, and I'm gonna introduce why you are here to our audience. So okay, I see we have already someone. And by the way, I want to apologize to our audience. I'm going to try to read out your names, but I'm going to butcher them badly. So please bear with me. That's perfectly fine. We have Ali joining us from Pakistan. We're going to have more, I'm sure. So back to Kuram. Kuram is an
Yeah,
accomplished engineer. He spent most of his career as an engineer, but added an extra layer of skills as a people leader and a leadership skill mentor and coach. So he actually combines both of these skills, and he's going to be able to talk to us about his journey, about his experience as an engineer and a fledgling people leader at the beginning of his career, and then give us some tips how you, if you're an engineer and aspiring people leader, can actually build similar skill set. And there are some things that, of course, are specific for engineer turned leaders, as opposed to, I would say, born people leaders who just studied the areas of people leadership from the get-go. So let me know in the chat who else do we have and who else is joining. The reason we are doing this, or I am doing this, is I'm really interested in different angles or different approaches when it comes to people leadership. I do this every week, every Thursday, and I'm bringing on the show different guests to bring you the answers from the best. So I have now a little drop in here. Let's see, Kuram's rejoining. Oh, there we go.
yeah. Sorry for the interruption.
No
Something
worries, you're
happened and
back.
I had to
I just
reconnect. Yeah,
I was just saying you're the best and why I'm actually doing these
thank you.
shows. So let's go. And we have another person. Hi Shazad. Hi, let us know in the chat, Shazad, where you're joining us from. We're gonna go right into the first one that I have prepared. So we're gonna go through a couple of topics and then we're gonna pick up your questions. So if you already have questions for
Yeah,
Kuram or for myself, drop them in the chat.
please ask.
We're gonna pick them as we go. So I'll shut up for a bit, and Kuram, over to you. I kind of build the hook on the engineers are not good people managers. Would you agree? What's your take on that?
I agree.
Oh, really? I didn't
Unfortunately,
expect that.
actually, as engineers, many of us have spent years honing our technical expertise, solving complex problems, and mastering our respective fields. However, when it comes to leading teams and engaging people, we often find ourselves facing unique challenges. So, the common misconception is that hard skills and soft skills don't mix. That's a common misconception. We may have impressive technical abilities, but being a wizard in our domain with a high IQ does not automatically translate into effective leadership. As an emerging leader with an engineering background, it is natural to feel disadvantaged. But compared to those who have studied people management at similar disciplines, that's a disadvantage. But here is the exciting part. We can leverage our engineering mindset and methods to enhance our leadership skills. Today, we will debunk the belief that technical expertise cannot be combined with effective people leadership. Together, me and Alish will talk about it in detail and will share with you about what we think about it. I believe that although engineers are by default not good with leadership skills, but I also believe that they can learn, they can improve, they can become a good leader if they work on their personal and professional development.
Thank you, Kuram. There's actually this stereotype perpetuated by the media, this awkward
Yeah,
engineer, IT
yeah.
crowd, Big Bang Theory. I'm sure in Asia there are other series or movies that are perpetuating this. And you're actually saying there's a grain of salt in that. Like engineers are
Mhm.
not really good people managers. So why is that? What does it actually mean in practice?
It can vary from country to country. In countries like Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, I have seen and heard this myth that girls are not willing to marry an engineer because she knows that he might lack the human skills, the relationship skills. So
Wow.
this is how engineers are being treated in certain countries. It may be different situation in your country, but uh, you know, we we can discuss how engineers can overcome this problem. Being an engineer and having the same problem 20 years ago, I have overcome this, and I can translate my journey into words for the audience so that they can understand and learn from us and from this discussion that how I transformed my life and how they can transform their lives.
Got it. Got it. Thank you, Karam. I'm just wondering before we move to that one. So what would be the typical challenge of someone with engineering background? We uh, sometimes see like that their soft skills, their technical skills, they're in opposition. Either you have one set or you have the other set.
Hmm.
Um, how is it for you?
Actually, being an engineer is the most important thing for engineers because they are basically taught to become an engineer, to talk like an engineer, to behave like an engineer because they have to deal with machines, not human beings. They are supposed to be and deal with machines. So once they start dealing and working with machines, they basically get the essence of being a machine, so they can then better interact with the machine with having the technical background dominating their human skills. So because it's tough job, it's not easy to live in a factory, to be in a factory, to go every day to a factory and work on different machines. There's high temperature, there's humidity, there is dust, there are different multiple physical challenges for them to face every day. So the environment they work in becomes their transformational agent actually. So later on, when an engineer is promoted to the position of manager, at that point he realizes that now I don't have to do the same job I have been doing for the rest of my life. I have to engage with people, and those people will do the job for me. That's the time where he realizes, oh my God, I lack these skills and I have to learn it. And this is when he can learn and he can improve and he can become a good manager, then leading to becoming a good leader. So, I personally believe if I'm taking a lot of time on this question, because I believe that there are three sets of skills every single human being should learn and acquire. Number one is technical skill. If I talk about technical skill sets, I will tell you the name of different professions like welder, painter, fitter, supervisor, engineer, and you can name it, like the tank driver, the policeman who is basically using the rifles and different weapons, and the same way a car driver, the pilot who flies the plane, all, and even the telephone operator, all these jobs are technical jobs, and these jobs are frontline jobs, and frontline jobs never pay you well, and you cannot reach to the position of CEO if you only focus on technical skills. You can be a scientist, but you cannot become a CEO of a company where you're dealing with 10,000 people. So the second set of skills one needed to become a good manager and general manager and CEO is human skills. Once you have technical skill set, then one must try to acquire human skills. And human skills include everything: speaking, listening, writing, communicating with your colleagues, empathy, emotional intelligence, everything, all the management skills. So once you acquire the human skills, you can then become a good manager, a good leader. And if you want to really thrive in your life, in your career, the last set of skills is intellectual skills. Intellectual skills are the skills which will let you know, which will drive you that to think about where you want to see your company after 100 years, after 50 years. Where do you want to end your career? What do you want for your employees, for your team, for your family, for your country? So intellectual skills are the skills which actually makes you a people leader. So if one engineer at his early stage of career can start acquiring technical skills and then instantly human skills and then intellectual skills, this is the pathway to success for an engineer. Not only engineer, for anyone, but particularly we are talking about engineers because they are taught to become technically sound, because their job, that's the job requirement. But as an engineer, everyone needs, has the right to excel in his career. So eventually, if he work on his human skills, intellectual skills, he can further develop himself, herself, and become a good leader, people leader in the later stage of his career. What do you think?
I mean, it's interesting because, I see people around me who have this ideas about what skills they need, what skills they don't need, right? And
Mm,
I would like to actually kind of throw it back at you in this sense, starting with the technical skills.
mm,
Um, I see from my experience two approaches from people who are very tech savvy. One approach is, hey, I don't need to be a people manager. I'm such a genius in what I do. I'm going to become a principal. You know, this highly valued, Wozniak, character who's going to be highly valued in the
mm,
company, and everyone else will kind of work around me dealing with the people
mm.
problem. So that would be one thing. And before I go to the other, would you how would you perceive that? Is it a dream, or is it maybe attainable but to such a fraction of high tech skills that it's not something to aspire on?
If anyone wants to rely on technical skills only and want to become a principal, like the person who is leading a company, eventually he will need people to run the company. He cannot do everything by himself. So once he will have a team, eventually he will need to have human skills. And if he's not good at human skills, then there is one other option for introvert people. They can hire someone who has good set of human skills and run the company on their behalf. They sit back, enjoy the ride, and people will do this job for them. They can hire a good CEO, they can hire a good vice president of the company, and they focus on technical part of the job and operational part of the job. They don't want to involve with people on day-to-day matters. So they don't want to be the person who is setting the people culture. They hire people who actually will, on their behalf, are supposed to do the CEO job or the vice president job. and those people will set the culture tone. They will decide where the company has to go after certain years. So this is how they can manage, but eventually it's a plus point if they can add human skills along with their technical skills. But look, it varies from industry to industry. It might be successful in tech industry. For example, if there is a software house, it can be possible. But if it can be a different situation if one is running a steel plant or paper mills or any other oil and gas field. So accordingly, the it is the requirement of your job, your company, your market, and your clients and your employees. So based on that, we have one has to decide what path he has to take.
Got it. Well, based on what you're saying, actually, I still hear that even as a potential principal and genius who builds the team around to shield
Yeah,
themselves from people, you would need to hire this team, right? You would still need to interact with people somehow. So
exactly,
there's no really
exactly,
way
exactly,
around that. All
exactly.
right.
There's no really way around.
So
Got it.
I see we have a question from Shahzad. Shahzad, we're gonna pick it up in just a minute. Let me just follow this train of thought with one follow up.
Yeah.
So I mentioned one point, like the technical savvy people who think they don't need people skills, but I think the second approach I see in the people around me, and to be honest, I'm not technically skilled, but I am guilty of applying this approach sometimes. I'm like, hey, I know people are
Great.
needed. I need to get their buy-in, to get resources, to get promoted, to get ahead. But I have the right answer, right? In
Mm,
engineering, there is mostly a right answer. You know the physical properties of the material you're dealing with. You do your root cause analysis. I guess if you know your stuff, the material you work behaves the same
yeah.
way every time. If
Yeah.
you did your research, and you think that
Exactly.
people should behave the same way, right? I have the
Yeah.
answers. You don't. You should listen to me. That's how I see people with technical background approaching others. And of course, this
Hmm.
this backfires massively. Is that
Exactly.
your experience as well? And why is
I
that?
agree. I agree because there is one lacking point, the lead by coaching concept. If they take on this concept and they start coaching their team, and then lead by coaching comes into the place, and that is what can help them. Basically, sometimes there comes a point where I don't know the answer and my team has no answer of that problem. And we sit together and we discuss, and one by one, I ask my team, what is your suggestion? What is your suggestion? What do you think? How can we come out of this challenging situation? And I take everyone's point, and then I decide what is the best for the company and the employees and the department and the customer. And then I go back to my leadership position like this, sitting on a big chair, and I say, okay, you go and you do this, you do this, and you do this. So this is how we can utilize this concept lead by coaching to solve difficult, challenging questions. And eventually, we have to have more people who think like me, who act like me, who behave like me, who take the company on the same grounds, and who share the vision, who share the philosophy I want to see in my company. And if I don't have that team, then the company will not actually last for a longer period of time. The concept that it's like trickle down concept. What I think everyone should think like that, at least the leadership team, the management team should be on the same page with me, and that's where comes the human skills, where that's where comes the intellectual skills to play a role, because I have to have a team who is actually my successor. Everybody has to leave the position one day, either it is a president of the company, then who is going to be the next person leading the company after me. I have to actually build that team who can replace me, and the team is better than me. That's how companies are working, who has been working in the industry for the last 100 years, 200 years, 300 years.
Got it. Well, I get many more in my head now. The questions are spinning, but I'm gonna actually put on screen the question from Navid Shahzad. So let me
Yeah.
put it on, and I'm gonna read it out loud for those of us who might be just listening. So Navid is asking, what about a non-engineer or management science person is supposed to give a management training for engineers, how to engage and get their attention for effective learning and outcomes afterwards. What's your take on
How to
that, Khurram?
engage and get their attention to effective learning and outcome afterwards. Mr. Naveed is itself a leadership trainer, and I have known him for the last couple of years, and he has got foreign qualification, and he's a well-known trainer in Pakistan industry. Maybe you can consider him as a guest on your next show. So, so Mr. Naveed, actually, I agree with you that non-engineers, a management science person is supposed to give a management training for engineers. That's perfect. You are the person who has been doing this for the couple of years, and you know how to engage and get their attention for a effective learning and outcome afterward. Because talking in their language can give you an advantage to engage them, because you know their terminology, you know their problems, you know their challenges, and you talk to them in their tone, in their vocabulary. That is how you can engage them, and you can bring closer to your heart, and you can let them understand what you are trying to say. This is how you can get better results and better outcomes afterwards.
I think that's really valuable, like engineers speaking to engineers. The
Yeah.
way I'm reading the question is what if you don't have these skills? So probably Navi Chazat may have them. What if, for example, myself, Alesh, I facilitate trainings, I do provide soft skills training, but I'm not an engineer. And sometimes, and I'm going to flip what Navid is saying here, sometimes I find it hard to get credibility from engineers because they're there and like, you just use the tech term trying to get a buy-in, but that you used it wrong. So you just lost me. So, what if a non-engineer or, someone with HR background needs to manage or get a buy-in from technical skilled people? How do we do that? How do we earn your trust, Kuram?
It's a really tough situation. I have been through this situation, and once I was giving a training session to doctors, and I I saw in my front of eyes that almost 50% of the audience started sleeping. I was not able to engage them because I was not able to capture their attention. I was not sharing something which can grab their attention, which can create interest for them. So until unless we know our audience, we cannot make it engaging, because we don't know who is going to be our audience. Then we don't know what we are going to teach them. So if once there was a training session, and I have seen that the president of the company was sitting and the office boy was also sitting. So such diversified team, it's again another challenging situation when you have to deal with so much diversified audience. So being an engineer, it is important, if given a chance, if I'm engineer and I have to give a presentation to the management team, I should remain in the area where I am comfortable and I have more grip on that, instead of trying to do things which I hardly know about it. So, being in my expert area will give me an advantage to speak more, to elaborate more, to give multi-dimensional explanation, and based on that, audience will be engaged, and they will, if they want to learn this, they will be more satisfied with the outcomes.
Get it. I mean, I fully agree with that, Kuram. Actually, I think the the way to do that, or the way I usually do that, is when I facilitate or deliver training, is I call it out. I just say, hey, I am an expert in this field. I'm not an
Yeah,
expert in your technical field, and I'm not going to pretend to be. So this is our
exactly.
contracting. I can teach you something here, but I'm not going to pretend I'm better than you. So can you buy into this?
Yeah, exactly.
So
So do we
I know
have
that
any other question?
yeah, let's see, let's see. No, I don't see another from the audience now, but I have another one for you. So one of the things that I think is uh, very important, I'd say critical for technical skills, is understanding the properties of the machine or materials you're dealing with. We mentioned the physical properties, we mentioned how it behaves, but I think there's one, um, let's say, technique that we use both in technical problem solving and in people problem solving. This is the 5 whys techniques. So using the 5 whys, like what's the underlying cause of a problem? How do you solve it?
Hmm.
Do you believe these techniques yield the same results when it comes to people problems versus technical problems? Because for me, it kind of doesn't, you know? But if I do 5 whys on technical problem, the answer can be reapplied every single time. With people, it's not always the
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
What's your take?
We apply this technique in bearing damage analysis,
Hmm.
and we ask why your machine is stopped. They say, okay, the bolt is stripped. We ask why the bolt is stripped. They say torque wrench was not used. We say why the torque wrench was not used. They say not trained people. We ask why not trained people. They say it requires cost and training investment. So this is how we reach to the primary cause of the problem. So it's a very effective technique, and we use it specifically in our bearing root cause damage analysis in Pakistan. And I think this can be applied on management side also. Why your team is not listening you? Why your team is not capable of taking on multiple large scale problems? Why your team fails in challenging situation? So this can help to understand the primary root cause of the problem. So it's a very good technique. I have been using it, and I suggest that people should use it.
Got it. Understand. It's Khurram, we lost your video for a little bit, so let's see if you can re enable it. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good,
I
good,
can see
good.
you.
I can only see the black square now, so maybe that's something with your camera. Um, what I wanted to ask here, and let's see if the video comes back. I wanted to actually ask what the difference would be with the you know results of the 5 whys technique with people, because I was thinking it's completely different. It's technical versus people, but it isn't. You actually mentioned the torque wrench was not applied properly, which is a technical problem, but then it goes into people problem. The person was not trained to use it, or maybe they ignored the learnings, or maybe something happened that prevented the person, the operator, to do that. So now we're going into people problem, aren't we?
Alish, sorry, I was not able to understand. Your voice is flickering actually. Can you write the
Got it.
question on screen? Can you write the question on screen?
Sure. Sure. I think I can. And just the question: is your connection okay? Are you able to
Yes,
re-enable your camera?
connection is okay. Uh, Stable internet. Mr.
Got
Naveed
it.
is
Because
asking
I
another
don't see you
question.
now.
Oh,
I don't see your video.
okay, but I can see you, I can
Hmm.
hear you, but the voice is flickering.
Got
Can I
it.
reconnect? Can I reconnect to make it look better?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Please try that. Let's please try that. I'm gonna put the question on the screen in the meantime. All right. So before Khurram reconnects, what's interesting in here for me is really the way the technical and people problems are intertwined. Because at some point you always encounter the people element. This is true in aviation industry when we are investigating the root cause of airplane crashes, for example. It's always a technical part interacting with the people part. And because I'm a learning professional, of course, I'm going to say that the learning and proper training is critical. And
Welcome back.
without good. I was just saying,
Your
and
mic
actually,
is mute, I guess. Alish, I can see
mm,
you, but I can't hear you.
can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Quran? Still not.
No
Okay,
voice.
interesting. So let's see. Let's
No
see what we
voice.
can do there. And so I'm gonna put in there. 1 minute, and we see lots. So let's see. So I'm gonna ask everybody else if you can hear me, please. Okay, he can hear both. So Gaetano can hear me. That's good. Thank you, Gaetano. Let's see if we got Kuram back. And in the meantime, what I would assert here is that really any technical problem will be intertwined with the learning and people problem essentially. So how about now, Kuram? Can you hear me? Oh, let's see. I can hear you fine now. I can hear you. Can you hear me? So that's what sometimes happens, and it's kind of fortunate slash unfortunate coincidence. We have now the technical problem intertwined with the soft skills or people problem because we have you, our audience, and we want to provide the content for you that's useful, but the technology is failing us for a bit. So I'll see if Kuram is gonna come back. In the meantime, I'll finish my point in here. So uh, having the best possible technical solution in place, or having the best ball bearings in the world with the best maintenance procedures outlined in manuals is not going to help if you are actually not having people trained properly, or if they don't behave in accordance with the training. And that's oftentimes the people part of the problem that affects then longevity not only of technology, but even the deliverables that the company may have committed to. And of course, we know that machine failures may have very real consequences for people. So what I'm going to do before Kuram comes back, I'm gonna pick a few questions in there and do my best to provide my perspective in here. So talking to Navid Shahzad again, you have another contribution in here. I'll speak to that. In the meantime, I hope Kuram is going to be able to reconnect and have his pick on that. So the what Navid Shahzad is sharing here is a question about what are the biggest human skills related challenges on your side of the globe. I know I'm asking very wide question, but still I need to understand this, please. All right. So we got Kuram back. Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes,
Can
yes.
you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. It's perfect.
Perfect.
I've changed the device. I'm now using the iPad. I guess
Awesome.
something happened. So let's
No, we
get
are
back to the
good.
topic. We
I
have
was
a
just I
question
was
from
just kind
Naveed.
of making jokes about it, saying how technology and people problems are actually something we need to solve alone. And my point was saying that the technical problem will eventually, at some layer of the five whys, kind of bump into the people problem. People not properly
Hmm.
trained, not behaving according to training, not having enough buy-in in there. So
Yeah.
I just wrapped that up, but what I'd like to do, we have a few more questions. So
Yeah.
there's a question from Navid Shahzad, which I've just read. It's about the different or the human skills related challenges on your side of the globe. So I'll give my short answer, and Kuram, then I'm eager to hear yours. So for me, I live in Luxembourg currently, but I'm originally from Czech Republic. I work for Amazon, which is multinational company, and I'd say uh, in a, in a global company in Western European country, the challenges are to read the cultural differences among different employees, because what might be a facial expression that is read a certain way in my country is different. And for me, for example, in Czech Republic, we have much more direct communication. We don't use conditional so much. So, would you like to do something? In my language, I would say, go do this. And of course, this doesn't travel well. So, adjusting my language, being more cautious about how I'm phrasing things and more mindful, that is the skill I'm still honing, and that's the most important for me, global environment. What's your take, Kuram?
I understand because traveling to Europe, I have also realized the same thing because people are coming from across the globe, from Pakistan, India, and even Sweden. And we were sitting together once in Switzerland, and one of our colleague from Sweden, he asked me that can I travel to Pakistan with my family? So I said yes. Obviously, there is no problem because there are several other colleagues who have been traveling to Pakistan and they were all good. So people think different misconceptions about other countries and handling them well, and that is the area where we need to basically work on, especially for us people living in this part of the world, that changing the perception about your work, about your culture, about your religion, about your country, about your overall conditions in the country is a challenge which we are facing if we talk about our challenges. And you have already explained what you have to learn to deal with such challenges when people are coming from different backgrounds, and you have to understand what to say and what not to say. That's all well said.
Thank you, Kuram. We got contribution here from Walid Anwar, and again, I want to apologize to you and everybody who's listening if I'm butchering your name a bit. And what you say is, I do agree that a person with technical background can be a good leader. We have some great examples like Mr. Khurram Shahzad. Oh, you got some fans, Khurram, in here. Mr. Musadik Zolkarnarin from Interloop, and Mr. Nouman Wazir from FF
Yeah,
Steel, and many more.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, actually, he's also an engineer and he has developed a very good human skills and very good social media skills and very good personal branding skills also. So well done, Mr. Walid Anwar, and we really appreciate you for doing all these things. And he's saying that he also believes that one person with a technical background can also develop himself as a leader. That's what this talk is all about, and that's what we are actually talking. And that's what we want to see in the community, that people with technical background should also learn the soft skills, the human skills, the intellectual skills, and then behave and become like a good leader. So actually, I agree with him once again.
Got it. Khurram, I'd like to shift this a little bit because
Yeah.
I know that based on what you said, I like the triad. You the three golden skills: the technical one, the human skills, and the intellectual skills. And I think it's spot on. But I'm also wondering, what is the competitive edge of someone with engineering background when it comes to people skills? So suppose they get the training. What is actually how can they leverage this over the people who studied people management? Because there must be something that the people management soft skill only people, I'm going to call them, just lack and they can't use. I think it would be the five whys. It could be probably more. What makes you a better leader just because you're an engineer?
It's the most important question of the talk. You know, the mix of technical and and non-technical skills makes you a person with advantage, because the non-technical person, if given a chance to run a company which is basically dealing with technical products, engineering products, will be not comfortable as a technical person leading a technical or manufacturing unit. So this is where technical people can use their technical expertise to leverage on when they have to deal with the technical problem. So obviously, it's a good combo if a technical person, engineer, gets the soft skills and the other part of the training, and he becomes a good leader, people leader. He can be the person we can count on much better than the normal person who is actually not with a technical background. So he can produce better results. He can uh, produce better products also, utilizing his technical knowledge and counting on the management team using human skills. He can basically produce better. For example, I give you the example of Elon Musk. He is a person with complete technical background. He involves technically in every single part of his company. Either it's a spaceship, either it's Tesla, either it's the solar company. So he involves technically, and then he has the people skills also. So he is taking the leverage of the same exception. So this is what can give benefit to the technical people. He's a good example. What do you
Right.
think?
Honestly, I think Elon Musk is very inspiring as a leader and successful entrepreneur. For me, especially with his public media image and the way he communicates, I don't see him as a role model
Yeah,
in this sense. So for me, he's uh, I don't have enough background to kind of see how he leads his company,
yeah,
but my impression is more like these Steve Jobs movies. This
yeah,
brilliant solitary genius that manages with his sheer will to inspire others who are willing to follow.
yeah, exactly.
But what I'm wondering here is really, you know, I would like to get some advice from you for the non tech people, which I consider myself to be, and what can we learn when it comes to people skills from engineers? Like I know, for example, that being right, knowing the facts, being able to work with the data, it really aids you when you're trying to persuade a team or get their buying, of course. Like, for example, I wish I knew more about data visualization because that allows to tell a compelling story around the
Mm.
facts, and that requires some technical background. Could you give me a few things that someone like myself, non tech background person, can learn from engineers and kind of boost our people skills?
It's like a two-way traffic. Like if I am a tech person and I want to improve, I need to learn something from you. And if you are a people person and you want to add some spices of technical knowledge, you need to learn something from me. So we both need to mix some part of the skills which can leverage both of us to excel in our career. So the same way, I want to learn the soft skills from you. The same way, if you learn technical skills, that those technical skills which will help you to excel in your career. Everyone has to choose that part with setting the clear goal. What I want to learn. For example, if you are a brand manager, what technical skill you need to learn from tech people? Number one, social media marketing. Number two, graphic designing. Number three, video editing. These skills are also technical skills, just like as repairing a machine. So if one learns these technical skills from technical people, or even from anyone from online courses, he can then become self-sufficient to excel as a brand, as a company, as a one-man company, as a small company who has minimum resources to excel. So this is where we can take the leverage from technical skills and excel our own company or our own skills and grow in our own career in our own job and become the best leader we want to be after a couple of years.
Khurram, thank you. What I'm going to say now, it's going to sound like, this was planned and I asked you to say exactly that, but that's not the case. But I'm going to use this as a plug moment because what I do professionally, I help leaders to communicate effectively with larger teams in a scalable way through large scale virtual events. And what I noticed, to your point, Khurram, is I know leaders who are amazing when it comes to engaging people in the room face to face, but they
Yeah,
struggled massively with COVID when they had to deliver the impactful speech virtually. They had to communicate two-way with people they can see, like the two of us, Khurram, right now, when we only see the
yeah,
comments. And this struggling with technology was number one blocker. Some of them were
yeah,
afraid of technology and the beautiful energy they had face to face, they just were not able to transfer it into into the lens. So if that's what you struggle with, check my content, shoot me a message, and we can talk
definitely.
about it, figure it out.
Exactly. This is the point where people can take help from you, and I would definitely encourage people to contact you if anyone can get better by getting your help.
Well, Kuram, you're
So,
amazing. You did great because you had a backup device. You get back online really quickly, and no one is the wiser. So I can see you did your homework, and the 22 years being in this industry is that definitely pays off.
so my last point on this topic is that if you have also gone through the concept of polymath, the polymath concept. There is
Yeah, I
only
don't
one
know that
book
one.
written on this. There's only one book written on this by an Indian author,
Hmm.
and he says that polymath is not a Homo sapien. There are two breeds. One is Homo sapiens, the masses, and then the polymath. Polymath are basically called the universal men, the people who are not supposed to be born in one domain or profession and supposed to die in the same profession. They keep learning new technology, new professions, new fields of interest, and they keep growing multi-dimensionally. And eventually, at some point of time in their life, they realize their interest has brought them to a point where they have got some bigger opportunity to help people to grow immensely and to deliver something great to the world. So the great people are actually all the great people, like Barack Obama is a polymath. So, I have been working in different dimensions. For example, I started my career as an engineer in maintenance, operation, and production. And then I was working in project management. And then I was working as application engineer. And then I was working as business development and then training and development. And then uh, other different areas. Eventually, I came to a point where I was working as business management and training and development. So managing business means managing people. So this is how my life has been transforming over the last 22 years. So I have realized that the one thing which kept me going was never being stuck with one position or one profession or one job or one discipline, that if I want to be engineer for the whole of my life. No, that was not the point. I never thought that if this job is lost, what will happen. I was always ready to take on the next challenge, the next opportunity. I realized that when I was working on a management position, I instantly went back to university. I got admission in MBA and I completed my MBA marketing because that degree was going to help me in my management job, not my engineering studies. So eventually, engineer plus MBA with having experience related to the field helped me to grow immensely in my profession. And this is what I advise to everyone, that never ever fix yourself to one part of the profession, one uh, type of the job, one discipline. Always try to keep learning new technology, new skill sets. And I have been learning. I am a very good graphic designer. I'm a very good video editor. I have been doing podcast. I have been recording videos. I know how to run a YouTube channel. I alongside my businesses and training company, but I know all these small, hard technical skills also. So I have been learning every new skill, whatever was coming across my way. So this is what I advise to everyone who is watching the video, that always go for new technological skill sets. Future is of technology. Future is of AI. If you are not using Chat GPT, if you are not using generative AI, then you are going to be left behind eventually. So always be ahead of the competition. That's how you can actually excel at a fast pace. What do you think about it?
I mean, I think Kuram, that is a pretty fitting, way to wind down our talk today. I agree with you, and I feel myself now like I'm behind with ChatGPT. I'm just trying to catch up to understand how AI can assist. What I would add to that, I mean, there's what you're saying is totally true for people skills as well. There's very the progress might be paced differently, but the research in behavioral sciences, behavioral economics
Mm,
in the
yeah,
last 20 years and in neuroscience is massive. It allows us to understand better how we behave as humans, how we tick, what makes us angry, what makes us happy, and how you can communicate with, Homo sapiens or polymaths a little
yeah,
better than
yeah,
if you didn't know that.
yeah, exactly. Got it.
So Kuram, I guess before we say goodbye to our audience, I wanna ask you, where can we get more of you? Where can we get more of your content? Where can we get more of the knowledge? Where can we read into what you do? What's the best way to do that?
My next book is coming. The name of the book is Let's Make It Happen. It's a self-help book based on my personal story of my career and what I have learned in my career. That's what I have been sharing in that book. The book will be available within 2 months, and eventually people can contact me and know about me more on my website, khurramshahzad.com. They can also go to YouTube and explore the YouTube channel Idea Trainings, and eventually LinkedIn is the best platform to get in touch.
Perfect. Perfect. So please visit Quran's website. And is there any way, I'm still going to ask, is there any way to get like an early copy of a book or, pre-order, anything
Exactly,
like that?
exactly. On my
Okay.
website you can do that. On my website you can just give your name and details, and you will be booked for the early copy of the book.
Awesome. So everybody, don't forget to do that. You
Yeah,
can learn more about how to become a polymath and stay in touch with Kuram. Also, I highly recommend following Kuram on LinkedIn. He's posting regularly, and his content is inspiring, and it always has a little bit of humor or sparkle, which I like about it very much. For me, it's the same. You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can also tune in for another episode with amazing guests. I do this every Thursday, and I'm looking forward to kind of hear from you as well if you want to message me. So thank you so much who've been with us, and thank you, Karam, for dedicating the time and doing this despite the tech glitches we had along the way.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Likewise. See you
Thank you.
soon again.